Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our forum. Today, we're going to discuss some myths and facts about migration and some misconceptions people have.
Many people think that closing borders automatically leads to reduced migration. Well, do you think this is a myth or a fact?
Okay, for me, it's a myth because closing borders does not immediately lead to reduced migration. It only makes the migration process more complicated and insecure for immigrants. And for example, they closed the Bangalore route, and with this closure, almost 4,000 people died trying to cross the border.
For me, my opinion, I also agree with my Paula because I think if the country closes the borders, there will be more immigration illegally, and there will be more illegal migrants that make the country more insecure for the people. So yeah, I agree with my Paula.
Yeah, but I believe that this is a fact because when the borders of each country close, they take away the easy of traveling by land for people. So this reduces migration, and this also make them look for new ways to migrate illegally and not necessarily around the borders.
Yeah, but you have to take in consideration that when establishing the law of closing borders, there is obviously a time in which it is announced and when it's finally done. For this reason, if a person wants to migrate, they are pressured and they can migrate during that time. An example is in 1975, in the Netherlands, about 40% of the population migrated to Holland before visas were introduced. And I also agree with the fact of Maria Paula and Alvaro, because when a country closes the border, it is not perfect, so migrants find other illegal ways to cross the country. And this obviously leads to more illegal traffic and smugglers that places migrants in a dangerous zone.
Um,
Okay, so that's true. Now I think this is a myth. Okay, so another myth is that most immigrants are criminals and they bring violence to the country they go to. So tell me what you think about.
Okay, so I think it's a myth because studies after studies shown that immigrants, regardless of where they're from, are less likely than native-born citizens to commit crimes. In fact, they found that crime rates are lowest in states with highest immigration growth, and that states with fewer shares with immigrants tend to have a higher crime rates.
Yeah,
I
I agree with Maria Paula. I also researched and actually in Texas, the Department of Public Safety compared the criminality between immigrants and native U.S. citizens. And in fact, U.S. citizens were twice as arrested for violent crimes and four more times arrested for property crimes. This proves this myth and how only the minority of immigrants are criminal, and the violence of the country is already in the country and not brought by immigrants.
Well, I have to disagree with you all because I really think like I saw reports, in investigations of all universities of Latin America, and this says that the like 90% of Venezuelan immigrants in all the countries have made a lot of crimes. They have robbed banks, shelters, some many convenience stores, and I really think that many migrants that mostly are here illegally or in other country like in Peru, Colombia, uh, Brazil, I don't know, are like they are like criminals because as they come here illegally, they also want the money from steal from other people because they don't want to take all the tramits to make the papers to become illegal. So in this country, so I really think that they are criminals.
Yes, and I also agree with that because immigrants are not criminals, but there is a misconception that no the misconception because as many immigrants come, there there may be an increase in poverty, and this make people fight for sources for their family and support themselves.
Yeah, but I must disagree because obviously some immigrants bring violence and crime to the country, but it is only the minority, and they are not violent because they are immigrants or not, but because they are simply that way. And we are only going to have crimes no matter where we go, and whether we are immigrants or native.
Well,
Uh,
you have a point. Yeah, that
also,
that's
okay, so
the nature of the human being, like to gain the materials to survive. And I think that many people, even though many people in that situation would do the same.
okay, so I have to disagree with you because this misconception with people, with immigrant people, is wrong because it's mainly based with few experiences, with some crimes and not with specific data.
Now we're going to talk about the myth that is undocumented immigrants don't pay taxes and welfare cheats. I personally think this is a fact because, like as I said before, I don't really think that many immigrants that come into our country are there because of the culture or uh, they want to visit or experience new life. Because I really think that when an immigrant comes into a country illegally, they have to find a new way of life, a new way of winning money, like an investigation of 2017 that Mexicans in the United States, in 2017, when they got to go to United States, mostly of them, 90% of them were illegal immigrants because they really wanted a new way of living and wanted a reset, if I could say that like that, of his life and gain more money and have a better economy.
Okay, so like I disagree with that because I think this is a myth because immigrants still consume and buy things in their own country, and in the end they must pay taxes. But this can also be an invention of people to try to discriminate against migrants because they see them as a threat to their country.
Okay, so I also have to disagree with you, Alvaro, because I investigate and only immigrants, even though they are legal or undocumented, they pay sales, property, and consumption taxes. Um, Also, many undocumented migrants also pay income taxes, even though they cannot benefit from most of federal and state assistance programs. In contrary of this popular belief, undocumented workers are not eligible to claim these social security benefits.
Yeah, I must agree with you, Maria Paula. All immigrants, no matter whether they are illegal or legal, they must pay taxes. And actually, these taxes they pay, they cannot take any benefit from them because they don't have proper education or they can't use Medicaid or welfare. And I saw a case in which a Mexican woman that travel to the United States pay taxes only because um, when they pay taxes, they are most likely to get the citizenship from the United States. So they pay taxes to me more likely to stay permanently in the country.
Okay, also, even undocumented immigrants have to pay taxes to support local and state services for the federal government. And also, legal immigrants have to pay 5 years of taxes without benefits, and from the fifth year, they start to receive this benefits like medical care and social security.
So Alvaro, do we change your mind or do you think it is still a fact?
Yeah, you give me a lot of a completely different perspective of what I thought and what I investigated to this topic. I really am shocked because I was really into that the illegal immigrants they didn't pay taxes and new this news that you gave me, I completely changed my mind.
So we can conclude it as a myth.
Finally, after we had a proper discussion and we shared our investigations and opinions about this, we can finally conclude, had a conclusion. I think that being informed is important since these myths and misconceptions are created by people who are not well informed or had a bad experience with some immigrants. So being educated in these misconceptions and issues as important and sensitive is of great importance.
Additionally, I believe that people should begin to learn about the subject because they don't know what migrants must live, and they don't know the social or the economic problems that they had to go through me to migrate. So they must inform themselves to understand that their life is not easy and stop discriminating against them.
Yeah, I would like to talk about also the stereotype that we have talked about in the last two topics, the illegal immigrants doing bad things in a country. I really, these people really changed my mind and give me a lot of a different perception with investigation and examples of past years. And I really think that this is the stereotype of illegal immigrants doing bad things, terrorism, don't pay taxes. It's really a myth. Yeah, these people really changed my mind.
Finally, many people are constantly getting fake news and false information that can be very hurtful for immigrants. This false data cause all these myths to be considered as facts for many people, which is very wrong and mainly increases discrimination rate. I think this should change in the future, and everyone must be more open-minded about the topic.